please take your seats. Welcome to the Innovate Public Schools 24th Assembly District Candidates Forum. My name is Joselia Solorio, and I am a parent leader with the Innovate Public Schools. Roxana and I will be co-sharing the meeting tonight. Our job is to make sure we stay on time and follow our agenda so we can get the most out of this event. We will begin with an opening prayer from Father Goody, who is the pastor of this church, St. Francis of Assisi.
Good evening, and welcome to St. Francis Assisi Church. Please come welcome. I hope none of you needed a GPS to find your way over here. And now that you have found your way over here, I hope you will not just come over once in a while, but also take to heart some of our issues that we have here. I think we are, at least we feel we are a unique community here in this area, a place where Wellington people can live, and we have our issues about that right now, big issues, but right now that's what we're trying to preserve our community here. A lot of its gentrification, trying to resist that and keep our community alive and well here in Silicon Valley. I just want to say to those of you who are bothered by the fact that you're missing the Warrior game, that I had nothing to do with the planning of this meeting to be at the same time as the Warrior game. I just want to tell you, the Warriors are winning. After the second quarter, they were ahead by, last time it was 6 points. I'll keep you informed. Our big issue here, as I mentioned, is housing education. That's what we'll be talking about. And we have one of the things that I kind of a dream that I had, it kind of came to one day that we might have, there's all the people that are coming to us looking for help. And right now I had somebody on the phone that yesterday was going to commit suicide because he found out he has to be out of his house in 6 months. And I told him, stick around. We're going to. This is going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle we're going to win. And so, anyhow, this is a big effect. I thought we'd have a tent city out front of our church. I really thought that for a while. We were hoping that we can continue our struggle. We have a unique, here in the Catholic Church, we have a unique way of looking at the social issues. We may agree on many of the issues here, but we have a unique way of looking at it. And basically we start from the idea of the sanctity of human life, what the government calls the inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we take that very seriously in our church, and for that reason, it's the foundation for our social teachings about housing and education. And I just want to say that. Let us pray. We ask you, Lord, to bless our gathering here this evening. Give to our candidates wisdom and light to know better what can help this community. They may promote policies that will be beneficial to our community, will help us in the midst of the big struggle that's going on right now with all the tech companies coming in on us. We ask you, Lord, to help us to be able to find our way through this to a place where we can also contribute to our the growth of this community, of Silicon Valley and the people around us. And we might be an integral part by the help of these candidates to make our voices heard. And we thank you, Lord, for the many people who have organized this day. I think you'll find out you're very impressive people. We ask the Lord to help them to have the words, the courage to speak up and to say what we all feel. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father Goody. Hello, I am Roxana Enriquez, and I am a parent leader with Innovate Schools in Redwood City. Tonight's event was organized by Innovate Public Schools, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make sure that all students, especially low-income students and students of color, get an excellent public education. Our parent group wants to bring excellent education options here in our own community. We do this by community organizing to engage other families and community leaders to work together to make change.
The purpose of tonight's event is to get information out to the community about the candidates, encourage people to vote, and make sure our future assembly members know that improving public education is a major priority in our community. Every child deserves a great education. State lawmakers play an important role in making this happen. We also want to thank our partner organization, Faith in Action Bay Area, or FIA, whose members are working hard to increase affordable housing and promote tenants' rights in our region. Faith in Action Bay Area is a non-profit, non-partisan organization who organizing in over 40 congregations and schools, which represents 30,000 families across San Francisco and San Mateo counties. FIA develops courageous community leaders and bold grassroots campaigns on the issues that directly affect inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. FIA is a member of the PICO National Network. Like Innovate, FIA also does not endorse candidates. A community leader from FIA will be asking the question tonight around affordable housing.
Now I will start with a couple of logistics. We will be conducting this event mostly in English, but it is very important that everyone be able to understand everything that is said. If you do not understand both English and Spanish, please make sure to get a headset at the table. Por favor, tomen una máquina de traducción en la mesa si usted no entiende el inglés y el español. We want to thank Father Goody and St. Francis of Assisi for hosting our event tonight. When you arrive, you should have registered at the Innovate Public Schools table and received an agenda and a non-partisan voter information guide. Now, just a little bit about the rules this evening. First, we want to ask everyone to please be respectful to our guests at all times. We will not tolerate any signs of disrespect or interruptions. Please help us maintain a positive tone tonight. We also want to respect everyone's time. We only have an hour and a half total, so we have a very tight agenda. If you are here, please pray to our timekeeper, Michelle, seated up front. So please wrap up your comments when you see the timeout sheet.
Tonight we have 8 candidates, for the 24th Assembly District. We invited all of the candidates to participate, and one of the candidates, Vicky Binker, will be arriving late due to her daughter's graduation. The purpose of this event is for members of East Palo Alto and federal communities to hear from the candidates on some key issues that affect families. It is also an opportunity for the candidates to get to know our community. There are so many important issues we could include tonight, but due to time and Innovate's focus on education, we are asking about key topics important to education in our community. Thank you to those community members who submitted suggestions via our survey. All the candidates were sent the questions in advance, along with the time limits for each question, so they had time to prepare their answers. As much as we would like to allow the audience to participate more, we will not have time for people to speak who are not on the agenda. This is not an open forum. If you have an additional question or comment for the candidates, please fill out a comment card and put it in the comment box near the registration table outside. We will forward all of those questions to the candidates.
Providing an excellence for every child and closing the achievement gap in our region requires leadership from everyone. Our local parents, our districts, our state levels, and federal officials. We know that the state plays a critical role in shaping at the state level to fight for what is best for our kids, and we plan to hold our leaders accountable. Now please join me in extending a warm welcome and thank you to the candidates who have joined us tonight. We have tonight Palo Alto Council Member Mark Berman, Mr. Jay Cabrera, Mountain View Council Member John Inks, Mayor Barry Shang, Mountain View Council Member Mike Kasperzak, Menlo Park Council Member Peter Otaki, Mr. Selam Reddy, and Ms. Binky Becker will be joining us tonight due to her daughter's graduation, as mentioned. This candidate forum is different from other forums because it is run by a team of local parents and youth. We are volunteering our time because we are dedicated to making our community a better place for all of our children.
Now, we would like to invite the Honorable Mayor of East Palo Alto, Donna Rutherford, to welcome our guests to East Palo Alto and share her thoughts on the importance of voting.
Thank you. Good evening. For those of you who do not know, my name is Donna Rutherford, and I'm currently the mayor of East Palo Alto, this great city. Thank you for joining us for the 24th Assembly District Candidates Forum on Education. This evening, we come together to hear candidates' views on issues they feel are important. What they have to say on education is also important to us. We know that students in East Palo Alto are smart, bright, and creative. So we come together in commitment to the health and welfare of our young men and women of color. Our youth are our future, and therefore our first priority. We want the candidates to know this. I'd like to take a few moments just to recognize any other elected officials that have joined us this evening. Would you stand? Could you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Rosemary Kamei, and I'm a trustee of the Santa Clara County Office of Education.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you for being here to support this important event. We have a former council member and Sequoia Union High School District trustee, Laura Martinez, here also. We have a commissioner, Heidi Stewart, aren't you a commissioner? Would you please stand so people can see you also? Herta also. Thank you. So in February 2014, President Barack Obama launched My Brother's Keeper initiative to address the persistent opportunity gaps faced by young men of color and ensure that all young people can reach their full potential. In September 2014, President Obama issued a challenge to communities across the United States to become MBK communities. Councilwoman Lisa Gaucher accepted that challenge on behalf of East Council, and last October, the City Council unanimously voted to accept My Brother's Keeper's Community Challenge. It's important to note that the Council recognizes that the barriers that have kept our young men from soaring to their highest potential also stand in the way of our young women. As such, young women of color are also included. We stand in commitment with other communities across the nation, including Richmond, San Jose, Oakland, and San Francisco, who have also accepted the MBK challenge. And I would just like to say the 6 initiatives that we're working towards with this challenge. Entering school ready to learn, reading at 3rd grade level, graduating from high school ready for college and careers, completing post-secondary education or training, successfully entering the workforce, keeping kids on track and giving them a second chance. Before I conclude, I want to thank Innovate Public Schools staff and the parents, and Angel Martinez and Alicia for prioritizing the coordination of this event. Also St. Francis of Assisi for the use of this space. I could say so much more, but I know we're under a time constraint. Therefore, I will allow the questions to come from those that have been prepared for the individuals. But I would just like to also thank the candidates and wish you luck. And also, please don't forget to go out and vote on June 7th. Please tell your friends, every vote really does count. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Rutherford. The 24th Assembly District in California has around 465,000 people from the cities of Sunnyvale, Mountain View, Los Altos, Cupertino, Palo Alto, Atherton, Menlo Park, East Palo Alto, North Fair Oaks in Redwood City, and Half Moon Bay. Our Assembly members will vote on and can write laws on many important education issues, including funding for schools, teacher hiring, after-school programs, charter schools, and what to do about low-performing schools. Our Assembly members can also pass laws to address the housing crisis and tenant rights. We will now invite the candidates to share a 1-minute opening statement. Again, please look at our timekeeper to help us keep our agenda on track. We will begin with Council Member Mark Berman.
It's always nice to get applause before you speak because you don't know if you're going to get it afterwards. So thank you everybody so much for the opportunity to come and talk with you guys today about education, which is my #1 priority. My name is Mark Berman and I serve on the Palo Alto City Council, where I've been leading the effort to bridge the gap between the two Silicon Valleys. I've led the effort to raise the minimum wage in Palo Alto. I've led the effort to increase our housing stock. And in my day job, up until a few months ago, I worked for the Silicon Valley Education Foundation, which is an education nonprofit based in San Jose that provides high quality science, technology, engineering, and math in under-resourced schools from East San Jose to East Palo Alto and Menlo Park. I'm proud to have the support of many leaders in the community, including Mayor Rutherford, Vice Mayor Larry Moody, Lisa Gaucher, Ruben Aruca, Laura Martinez, and many others. My time is up, but I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. Thank you.
Jay Carrera.
Me llamo Blas Jacobo Cabrera. Me voy a hablar completamente en inglés porque estas preguntas son muy complicadas y mi español es más o menos. I'm Jay, and the one thing you need to get from me tonight is that the system is rigged. Our economies are rigged. The election system is rigged for the very, very wealthy, the very, very fortunate, who are the 1%, the 0.1%, the 0.01%, the 0.0001%. And we need to fix it. And I'm working with people like, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, people who want to change our system to work with everyday working families and working class communities, and we need to do it now. For me, the most important thing is to get the elections get the money out of the elections, right? When the money goes and the people have millions and billions of dollars are the ones who are funding all of the candidates, they are going to make decisions in Sacramento that are going to increase their pocketbooks and give them more money. So if you have that little piece of paper with a little black box that has all the money figures, I think it's important for people to educate about that. So make sure you pass around to people who don't see it. And we'll keep working together.
Cupertino Mayor Barry Chen.
Yeah, my name is Barry Chen. I'm the mayor of Cupertino. I grew up on the countryside in Taiwan, much worse than East Palo Alto, just that you know. When I was small, you have a bicycle, you consider you're rich, okay? Out of my class graduation, out of 100 students, half of them graduated from the grade school, and then only another 25% graduated from middle school. Only 4 went to the college, and I'm one of the lucky 4. And I'm a very poor family, so I know the education is very important to bridge the gap. And then that's why I'm advocating, if I get elected to the city assembly, I will tax the top 1% rich rich people in California for the education funding. We got to bridge this gap. We cannot just accuse them. You have to have action, and you have to tax them. The wealthy in California, because they are also part of the benefit of this group. So that's what I'm proposing. Thank you.
Councilmember John Ings.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks to Innovate for putting on a great forum tonight. I'm currently serving the last term of my last year of my second term on the Mountain View City Council, a long career in Mountain View government going back to 2002 as a commissioner. On the City Council, I've developed a reputation for sound fiscal management and a sensible approach to regulatory policy, meaning that you don't over-regulate. That same fiscal management, that same fiscal discipline is vitally needed in Sacramento, where we have budgets that are frequently out of balance in most years. This year is an exception. And it's mainly because they make poor assumptions about what the budget for, what the revenue expenditure forecast is. So you need someone in Sacramento that's going to understand how to protect the education budget, how to protect higher education, and I have that experience doing that. When you vote, go to your ballot, go to the bottom, find names, everything Chinese names like me, I don't think so. But, and check my website, inksforassembly.org.
Thank you, Mr. Council Member Mike Kaspersack.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for caring so much about your communities to be here tonight. I've been in the Mountain View City government for over 21 years, and I've been on the City Council for 16, and I've had the opportunity to serve as mayor twice. During my tenure in Mountain View, I've helped Mountain View become the first city in Santa Clara County to adopt a $15 minimum wage. I've been a staunch advocate of affordable housing programs and helped implement our below market rate housing program 15 years ago. I've also been involved in making sure that our city collaborates with our school districts, Mountain View and Los Altos and the high school district, to make sure that our students have great after-school programs. My top priorities, if elected to the Assembly, include affordable housing, transportation, ensuring that we have adequate and safe water, and that we have one of the best educational systems in the United States, not one of the worst. Thank you.
Menlo Park Council Member Peter Otaki.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I'm Peter Otaki. I grew up here in the Mid-Peninsula in San Mateo County, and I'm a proud graduate of the Sequoia Union High School District at Woodside High School. Any Woodside Wildcat fans? And I was very fortunate to have attended Woodside High School. Very proud of the education that I received here in this county. I've served on the Menlo Park City Council since 2010. Served as mayor in 2013. And there are definitely challenges within Menlo Park that we have in education. The Bellhaven section gets a different education, part of a different district than much of other Menlo Park residents. And so we face this inequality issue on a day-to-day basis and are trying to address that. In addition, we're building affordable housing in Menlo Park to address that issue. And I'm very proud to be going to Sacramento because I think Sacramento can fix, but sometimes gets in the way of some of the solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silam Reddy.
I am Singh Reddy. I am from a parent of 3 children, 36, 34, and 28. My kids all went to public schools. I know the difficulties of getting children through schools. I'm happy to say my kids are graduates. I'm concerned, like you are, about the children's education, the housing needs, and how to improve the schools. And my ideas are here. One card, it's outside. And also I came up with 22 ideas that I think could work. And I would like your feedback. I have an email address, paloaltolife@gmail.com. Please send me information about anything that you think that I could improve. We could improve together. This is all about going to Sacramento. It's about representing you, not representing myself. And your ideas are my ideas. That's how I act. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much to all the candidates for sharing your opening statements. Now we will have community members share their testimony and ask their questions to the candidates. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to provide an answer. For the first topic and question, we have Isabel Ocampo and Carlos Facundo.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. My name is Isabel Ocampo, and I'm a leader with Innovate for some years already. And I want to share some important information about the achievement gap that is very disturbing living in the United States. So this shows that not every child in the 24 Assembly District is currently not getting the education that she or he deserves. Too many students of color, low-income students, English learners, and special needs students do not have the same opportunities as their peers. That's very sad. In the Silicon Valley, only 47% of low-income students meet or exceed state standards in English on the latest state standardized test. Only 47%. Only 32% of Latino students. It's like three children out of 10. Right now, we are surrounded by high-tech jobs that are hiring employees outside of the community, outside of our country. Yet, across the Silicon Valley, 80% of Hispanic, Latino, Pacific Islanders, and African American students drop out of high school. They're not finishing high school. We know what that means, right? There might be something very wrong that is going on with our system that our children are not graduating from high school. Of those that are lucky enough to graduate, only about a third have the requirements they need to go to a California State University. Only a third. This is not acceptable. We believe that all children should go to university. All of them need to complete their dream. Why can they not have that American dream to go to university? Right? Right! Right! We need now, not tomorrow, 5 years or 10 years. Now we need leadership who will work hard with us, with all the communities, to make this happen. Because we cannot wait. Today is too late already. So we need leadership from everybody, including you guys. We need it today to make it happen soon. Okay? Now I have my friend Carla Facundo. She will be doing the question and her testimony in Spanish. If you can do put your headset on. Thank you.
Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Carla Facundo. He vivido en esta comunidad por los últimos 23 años. Soy una madre de 3 varones, 20, 16 y 6 años. Y esta noche voy a compartir mi historia con ustedes. Mis hijos fueron a Head Start, todo marchaba bien, hasta que empecé a notar algo diferente en uno de mis hijos. Lo comenté con la directora y pedí una evaluación, la cual me negaron sin evaluación alguna. La cual me negaron sin evaluación alguna, lo diagnosticaron con retraso mental. Me llevé una decepción muy grande. Toqué muchas puertas sin recibir respuesta y tomé la decisión de cambiar a mis hijos de distrito por medio del programa Tinsley a Melopar. Inmediatamente noté la diferencia. Evalué a mi hijo y el diagnóstico fue ADD, déficit de atención. Algo muy diferente a lo que me habían dicho anteriormente. Con diagnóstico en mano, empezaron a trabajar con mi hijo y a cumplir las metas año tras año.
Mi hijo menor, Mateo, asiste a Quinta Excelencia en Redwood City. Y estoy muy contenta con el resultado. Mi hijo mayor, Jamie, fue aceptado en una preparatoria privada, mientras que mi hijo de 16 años, Moisés, le tocó atender a Menloateton High, donde se ha enfrentado a muchos retos que han afectado su autoestima, nivel de aprendizaje, y como si fuera poco, algunos maestros no respetan su plan individualizado de educación. El sueño más grande de mi hijo, Moisés, es atender a la universidad, como su hermano mayor, Jamie, que está... Perdón, está en Princeton University. Y yo le contesto a mi hijo, Moisés, que no importa el tiempo que le tome, juntos vamos a cumplir su sueño. Es aquí cuando me pregunto y me doy cuenta de la brecha académica se manifiesta de diferentes maneras y está llevando al abismo a muchos de nuestros hijos. Candidatos, ¿qué debería hacer el Estado para cerrar la brecha académica?
This is a question to our candidates. What should the state do to close the achievement gap? We will start with Jay Cabrera.
So, for me, what I've heard is that people a half mile away in Palo Alto have about $15,000 per student, and here in East Palo Alto, River City, it's only like half that, like $7,000 per student, right? So, is money going to solve everything? No, but number one thing, let's start by equalizing the money. I think that every student in California should have $15,000 bare minimum, and any local taxes can go on top of that. If we can't do that with the state, there's plenty of money in the 24th Assembly District to go around.
Next will be Councilmember Mark Berman.
Well, first off, we all know that learning begins way before kindergarten, and so we need to fully fund universal preschool for every 4-year-old in California and create more high-quality early learning opportunities from birth to 3. Next, we need to make sure that the local control funding formula money, the additional funds, actually go to low-income English learners and foster children. And lastly, we need to build more housing. Which is kind of odd to say to this question, but parents shouldn't have to work 2 jobs just to pay the rent. They should be able to be home and protect their children having a home.
Cupertino Mayor Barry Chan.
The issue hit really hard. I remember my first daughter, when she was in preschool, the teacher told us that my daughter is retarded. So we are so worried. I know how he went through it. Until she's 3rd grade and then tested this talent, talented student. So I know how that feels. So the parent has to get involved, And then to solve this achievement gap, I'm the only candidate served 8 years on the Korean school board. So I'm proposing to have free breakfast and free lunch for low-income students. That's very important. If the students are hungry, they cannot learn.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. Councilmember John Hanks.
Yes. You know, some of the great work that Innovate Public Schools has done, the reports that you put out, indicate that there are communities from Gilroy to Oakland in the same economic situation, but they have higher achievement among Blacks and Latinos in those districts. Now, why is that? What should the state do, you know, to help Ravenswood parents and teachers, you know, to really empower students to achieve the way it's already done in other low-income areas in the Bay Area? So the information is there.
Thank you, Mr. Hanks. Councilmember Mike Kaspersak.
I agree with Mr. Berman with respect to universal preschool. We need to make sure that's funded and keep the governor from eliminating it. But education is expensive and it's a matter of resources, and we the state need to make sure that resources are put where they're needed. We also need to be able to get our schools to learn from those schools that are doing it well, like the 55 schools in the Bay Area where they've closed the achievement gap for African American and Latino students.
Thank you, Mr. Kaspersak. Menlo Park, Councilmember Peter Otaki.
So there's no question that we have to be able to support the elementary school system and address the achievement gap at the elementary school level. Because I can tell you by the time we get to high school, the differences in preparation prior to high school, it's almost too late to catch up. It takes a lot of work to do it. So it has to be addressed at the elementary school level. I certainly agree that there's no question it's working in certain places. The state has to fund and share those best practices and where it's working across the state to all the low-income areas, and to provide the funding through the grants to make sure it goes to those areas where that funding can improve the local elementary schools and help address that achievement gap. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otaki. Ready?
So the question was achievement gap. I think I look at the naivety of the answers. Really, achievement gap happens at many levels. Third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, 11th grade, for many reasons. So we need to recognize it first. We need to go to the lady that did good work, go and find the right assessment team that recognizes the problem and identifies the problem. And I would like the state to fund all this, make sure that this can be done, and then provide an opportunity to improve. My daughter was diagnosed at age 5 with the speech therapy. So the schools in Arriba and High School doesn't help her to improve that. So we need to do the same thing. It's the school responsibility to find the problem and fix it. Right?
Thank you, Mr. Berman. For the second question tonight, we have Elizabeth Ortiz and Jemima Agudelo.
Before we start, how is everybody doing tonight? So much for being here tonight. Now we are going to have Elizabeth Ortiz.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Elizabeth Ortiz. I'm a party leader at Kick Excellence in Rock City. I'm a volunteer for Innovate Public Schools. Well, we all need to know how our schools are doing. That's what the state of California created, the Academic Performance Index, or API, which was the system for evaluating schools for nearly 15 years. It wasn't a perfect system, but it did allow us to see which schools were performing well as which schools were not. It was designed to do 3 things. First one, the state officials could identify the schools to urgently need to improve. Second, educators could see whether the school was on track. And finally, parents could easily understand how our schools are doing. The state stopped publishing the API in 2013. In the last few years, there has been no easy way to compare our schools. Right now, legislators are deciding how they will replace the API. There are proposals that will open parents' dashboards of loss on students' measurement of each school's performance. We were worried that this will make it hard for parents to easily understand and compare school quality. Parents deserve to easily understand and compare school quality, to have an easy way to know how their school is doing through one or two numbers, like the API that summarize their school's academic performance.
Good evening. My name is Jemima Agudelo, and I'm a proud parent leader at KIP Excellencia, and an honored volunteer for Innovate Public Schools. When I was growing up, my mom didn't know what schools to send me to. As a new mom from Colombia, she assumed that all schools were the same. Because my mother picked a school blindly, she had no way of knowing that the low scores that school had. My mother did not know that the school wasn't making sure I was ready for college. My mother also didn't know that the lack of security in the school would easily lead to my bullying and my hospitalization after a terrible bullying incident. For 3 years, I was bullied, pushed around, and generally I was ignored. The teachers did not teach us. They just had us read out of a book. My mother put me in a burning building without knowing it. My mom put me, the scores today show that this school is still not a good school. Now that I have children of my own, not knowing how well my son is being educated or how safe scares me. I wonder, where do I go to find this information? The way that I chose schools in the past is by the after-school programs that are offered. However, even in the supposedly good school that I chose, getting access to a teacher or administrator was a hassle. When I found out that a child in my son's school was injured under the supervision of a teacher, it was a wake-up call. I knew I had to change his school. Luckily, my friend let me know about KIP Excellencia in Redwood City, and I've known that the quality of the education there is very, very different. I see that my son is being challenged, and he's learning a lot. I've seen test scores of all KIP schools, and I know that he is somewhere that he is making sure that he is prepared for college. As a parent, I feel that sending my son to a school that I know nothing about is like walking into a building blind. In our society, you do not pick a hotel just to pick it. You go, you see online to read the ratings, you see their pictures, and you look for real evidence of the quality of the room. Like a hotel, a school can look really nice outside, but in actuality, it's not a good school for the kids. As a parent, we need good information to find the right school for our children. Candidates, what do you believe the state should do to make sure parents have easy to understand data about the quality of their local schools? We will start with Cupertino Mayor Barry Chang.
The short answer is yes. You should make it easier to understand. And when you're talking about bullying, I remember when I was in middle school, 3 years, because of malnutrition, I was small in comparison to other students. So I've been pushing around my classmates all the time. Quite a few times, one time 20 of them circled me, just pushing me around. Okay? So I went through that stage. So when my wife and I were involved in the school, so we make sure that the school, that the system, API system is not perfect, but you should be able to, you can compare. So I would go back and forth.
Thank you. Council Member Mark Berman.
Well, access to information and data for parents is critical, and I mean, to your points. And we've been without a quality school index in California for far too long. I completely agree. Whatever quality index is created must, in the end, create a either one number or at most two numbers index or a rating, so that so that parents can see how the schools that their children are slated to go to compare to schools in their region, and also so that that triggers certain choice opportunities for parents if schools are ranked in the bottom 5 or 10% in the state. So it's okay for there to be multiple factors. My time's up. It's okay for there to be multiple factors, but it must roll up into one or two at most.
Thank you.
Well, if it's not broken, we should try to get rid of something that's already working. So we should definitely go back to what was working before and then try to improve it through proposals with the community I'm a huge fan of everything in government becoming online, being 21st century up to date so that people on their cell phones can be involved with 720 evaluation from all the parents, all the students, all the teachers, so that we're able to really increase the evaluation of the schools as well.
Thank you. Councilmember John Meeks.
Yes, apparently the reform that went to something called the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, CASP, or some acronym like that. Apparently that is not getting you the data that you need. So whatever we can do at the state level to make sure that the index is tailored so that it's informative to parents and you can actually judge in the schools, and if that's bringing back, legacy API, maybe that's the thing to do.
Thank you. Councilmember Mike Kasperczak.
Thank you. It's really embarrassing that a state that is the acknowledged leader in technology has not been able to come up with a way for parents and students to learn about the schools that they want to attend and to use the data to know that the teachers and that the students are learning what they should be learning and are progressing. And it's being open to new ideas, leaving everything on the table, and it's really about coming up with things. We have Yelp, we have all sorts of things online about rating everything. We should be able to rate our schools.
Thank you.
So thank you. No question that we should bring back on an interim basis the API scoring system adjusted for the Common Core curriculum. That was the reason why it was put aside, was the transition of all our school curriculums to Common Core. We should be able to come up with API that fits that and do that quickly, because I completely agree, API was a great way for parents to be able to judge their schools. In addition, I would like to recommend that we do, in fact, what Mike mentioned, create a Yelp type system that you can rate teachers and schools and be able to have better data accessible to you as parents.
This is basically the responsibility of the local unified school district in the area. It isn't mine, it isn't yours. They need to give good data. In order to do this, actually all schools need to be about the same. Why should this school district have local school, other schools? So we need to get to that. So the other thing is, it's really the parent that needs to take the responsibility to find out what the teachers do, how they behave. I had my own experience with my children, that the students in my education need to be moved to a different teacher because the way they were acting.
Before we continue to hear from the candidates, we want to hear from you. To do this, I want to introduce Maritza Leal.
Hello everyone, how is everyone doing tonight? This is a very special moment because so far we have heard about what the candidates say, what they plan to do if they get elected, but this time, I think it's time for you and me to do something right now. Can you please stand up? Stand up, stand up. I want to see your cell phones. Let's see. Who has their cell phones? Teléfonos arriba. Pónganse de pie. Teléfonos arriba. We're going to do something great. As I said before, it is time for us to do something, like to take action. Es momento para que nosotros tomemos acción. Quiero ver. Tiempo de sacar el teléfono. Okay, todos ustedes, all of you have a paper or you can even see it over here. We're going to do something. We're going to text the word election to the number 650-209-6143. Vamos a mandar la palabra elección al número 650-209-6143. Everyone doing it? I want everyone to do it. Send the word election. And this is 143, area code 650. How's everyone doing? Send the word election. Election. Who did it already? Okay, we have some people waiting. Let's wait for others to get it. This is the time to encourage you to do something right now. Who has it? Everyone okay? Okay, you said the word election, mandó la palabra elección, and then you're going to receive a text. Va a recibir un texto, and you have to reply to that text saying why it is important to vote. You can say it on your own word. Puede decirlo con sus propias palabras, ¿por qué es importante votar? ¿Lo estamos haciendo? Everyone do it? Yes? Who needs more time? We're fine. Everyone, this is the time for you to get in action, okay? Let's see. We got it? Yes. Everyone okay? Okay. I think this is my part. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. You got your text, your reply, send on your own words why it is important to vote. Because right now it is a matter that we have to spread the word about the importance of voting. Okay? Thank you so much. Everyone have it. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maritza. We will now continue our questions to the candidates. Leontina Tao and Juana Martinez will present our next topic and question.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm going to talk about school choices. Many great choices exist for children in our community. I have a video. Can you hear me better? Many great educational choices exist for children in our community, but unfortunately, they are only often for those who can afford to pay. So for those of us we cannot pay, it is hard to describe the feeling of having your child stuck in a school that you know is not preparing them for college. As a parent, this feeling of not being able to do anything or not having any other choices is not something I wish on any other parent. A report published last year from the Center of Regional Education outcomes of Stanford looked at 41 major urban regions in the USA and found that African Americans and Latino students attending charter schools in those regions were outperforming their peers in the traditional public schools. For African American students in February, the report found that those attending charter schools had an increase in math performance equal to an additional 59 days. And for Latino students, it was an additional 48 days. Wow. This is speechless for me. It's unbelievable. This report demonstrates that there is a value to having high quality charter schools in urban communities. It also shows that overall charter schools have a smaller share of underperforming schools. So this means that as a parent, having a high quality charter, This means having a high quality charter school could mean a better chance to reach a college level education for our children, and a better chance to succeed in a community with raising costs of living. So there are many schools that need to improve, and we understand that it's time. But our kids, they don't have time. Our kids, they don't have 3 or 5 years to wait for the system to change. We need high quality school options now. For me, it is important that our next assembly member advocate for schools choice for all students. It should not be an option, only for those who can afford to pay. Thank you.
Alright, folks, I'm gonna need you guys to wake up a little bit here. So I wanna ask you folks, do you know that you have the power? Because if you do, raise your hand, open up like this, and show your council members that you have the power. They don't have it yet. And if you want them to feel it, join with me in stomping your feet. That is the trouble that I want them to know East Palo Alto and North Fair Oaks has to make them make that change. All right, and here's a challenge for you, folks, candidates. The one person who can stumble the most and break the score is the one we're going to vote for. All right, my name is Leah, and I'm a lifelong East Palo Alto community member and mom of 3 children. Unfortunately, I and many other families are not confident in the quality of our local schools. For example, the school we were assigned to is Castaño, and only 11% of students are on grade level in math and 18% in English. We then had to seek outside options. My daughter Marlena attends a rated 10 out of 10 district public school in a different city. But I recently realized that even in this supposedly great school, certain student groups are not doing very well. Hispanic and low-income students are being left behind academically, which made me decide to move for the KIPP Excelencia charter school next year. My son Alexander has already been attending that school, and KIPP has proven to be so much more than I expected. In the 1 year my son has been there, I've seen him learn and grow by leaps and bounds. It worries me that my kindergarten son is learning more advanced material than my 2nd grade daughter. All students deserve a school that has high expectations for them to push their potential. Students like Alexander, low-income students, and students of color often perform better in charter schools. That is a given statistic that Juana has shared with you. Now I understand that not all charter schools are as amazing as this, but we want to make sure that we allow for great charter schools to be an option. So candidates, I ask you, what role do you think charter schools should play in our education system and in our local districts? And we can start with Mr. Ames, please.
Yes, of course, and certainly the Innovate Public Schools report cites very clearly examples like the KIPP schools that were mentioned, and these other schools that actually in low-income, other areas of the Bay areas like the Oakland and so forth, they actually do achieve get higher results, and this is in low-income populations. The question is, why can't that be brought here to Bradenton to empower teachers, students, parents to get the best education they can for their children?
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Councilman Ataki.
Thank you. There's no question that I think charter schools are a very important option that that residents should have. For no other reason, because it enables you as parents to have a choice and to put some pressure on the local school district. I can tell you from the experience in Menlo Park, the 2 districts would fight against charter schools heavily. There's no question about it. But we got to make it easier for you to have that option of a charter school.
Thank you. Now we can move to, Mr. Pastor.
So I absolutely believe that charter schools are a critical part of our educational system. Not only do they provide choice for parents and students to get to schools that have excellent and quality results, but they also serve as a testing ground and a proving ground for new techniques that can be used and transferred to other schools. Because our schools have to learn too. They have to learn from the schools that are doing things right and educating our children the way they need to be educated.
Thank you.
I think charter schools provide the role of being competitive, and so the public schools can learn from charter schools, and vice versa. And this whole thing about charter schools is it's in the world, like in India, I give an example. All schools, about 60% of the schools are charter schools. So it's a proven system. I think we should implement it. And I would go for it. I would propose it.
So in a perfect world, every child would go to a traditional public school that gave them a world-class education. But if we lived in that perfect world, we wouldn't be here today. And so in communities where traditional public schools are failing kids, and those students only get one chance, as we heard a minute ago, at 3rd grade, at 4th grade, at 5th grade, in those communities, charter schools play a critical role in providing a choice for parents and for students. I'm proud to have the support of education reform groups, including groups like Ed Voice and the California Charter Schools Association.
I support that all parents get to choose where their children go to school. That is the most important thing, is to empower the parents, right? So if charter schools can give a better education, parents can be able to send their kids there. But I don't believe that sending a kid to a charter school should reduce the amount of money supporting public schools. I think that you have to increase the money for school and make sure that everybody gets a good education, and we need to reduce the regulations and red tape on our public school system to improve and bring in some of the new ideas from charter schools so that it's better.
Vicky, you want to take your seat? Welcome, Vicky Meeker. The only female candidate. Can I answer the question now? Second? Okay. I do believe the choice. As you know, I serve 8 years in Cupertino School District, and Cupertino School District is one of the lowest funding school districts, probably the same as here. We are getting half of what our other school district get. But because the Cupertino School District has different programs, so the parent can choose their program, they can move their children to different programs they feel that will best suit for their kids. So that's one of the main reasons Cupertino School is doing well. So I believe in the choice. So the charter school, yes, but also we need to hold them accountable. I don't want to have parents choose a charter school and then end up getting into another bad situation.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next question and topic will be presented by Bailey and Daniela.
Thank you. Thank you, council members, for joining us, and thank you, Vicki Beaker, for being here on such an auspicious occasion as your daughter's graduation. My name is Bailey Schwartz, and my topic is around teacher quality. Great teachers change students' lives. Parents know this well, and decades of research has confirmed it. I want to hear from both the audience and candidates. Please raise your hands if you can think of a teacher who changed your life. Okay, now put your hands down and raise your hands if you can think of a teacher who shouldn't have been teaching. Right now, California state laws make it hard for local schools and districts to dismiss ineffective teachers or reward amazing teachers. As a result, students in low-income communities like mine, are more likely to have inexperienced or ineffective teachers or even long-term substitutes. California needs more great teachers, especially in communities like East Palo Alto and North Fairbanks.
That's right. Hello everyone, my name is Daniela Esparza and I'm in 8th grade. I want to tell you a little bit about my experience with different teachers in school.
When I had a teacher who didn't help me with what I needed help in, I started falling behind on my projects. I started asking for help often, but my teachers wouldn't explain things clearly, like what was expected of the project. So that had made me confused on how I should continue finishing my projects. I had seen before that the teacher treats students differently based on their race. I had another teacher as well, which was very strict, but still spends time with each student individually during and after school. He would also let the parents know what the students' goals are during the week. Then he would start checking in with them every day. Checking in each day kept me on track and also encouraged me to be my best, which really helped me. I believe everyone deserves help from great teachers, and just because you have a teacher doesn't mean all students have an equal education. My question from Mike Casperson is, how will you work at the state level to help districts make sure students in low-income communities have greater access to excellent teachers?
Thank you. Well, as I said earlier, in Sacramento, when it comes to education, everything is on the table and there are no sacred cows. Things like teacher tenure and last in, first out when it comes to discipline. I think everything needs to be up for discussion with all stakeholders. I also think that we really need to find ways to entice good teachers to come to lower income districts where the pay may not be as good as it is elsewhere. And I think the state can find ways of providing incentives for teachers, perhaps helping write off student loans to teachers that come here that are good teachers.
Menlo Park Council Member Peter Otaki.
Hi. We had an issue in my family with our third grade teacher for my son. And basically he wasted an entire year of school. And this is in the Menlo Park School District where there's some excellent teachers. This teacher has been redeployed and is part of a multi-age program and doing team teaching. And yet many parents have complained to the district about it. This is an issue that the district should be able to dismiss a poorly performing teacher. You as parents should have the ability to rate teachers. And so I think that's part of it. And then, yes, student loan forgiveness for teachers and even performance and bonuses for getting teachers in lower income areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Elon Ray.
Can you hear me? Yes, thank you. So this is what I think. I think we need to increase the salaries for teachers. I would say about $100,000 at elementary school level, and then expect results. And those that don't perform, they get to do other things. I may not say that they need to be fired. They get to do other things other than being front interface with children. I've experienced with my children that the good teachers versus bad teachers. So I think it's all about that. You know, as a parent, you need to make sure that you are getting what you need to get for your child. Every child needs different level of teaching teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki.
First of all, good evening, and I apologize for being late, but I did have a very important graduation to attend, my own daughter's. As the mother of two school-age children, preparing all of our students for good jobs is very important to me. And I think there are two ways we can get excellent teachers in the classroom. The first is, especially in low-income communities, is to streamline teacher discipline and dismissal processes. And I believe we can do that so that we can put the best teachers in the classroom. The second is to attract the best teachers to the classroom by increasing teacher pay and investing more in education, not just in K through 12, but also in pre-K and early childhood education.
Council Member Mark Berman.
So I agree that we need to reform teacher tenure, we need to reform dismissal processes, and we need to reform the last in, first out policy. I don't think those are serving our students well. But more, almost in addition to that, and possibly more importantly, we need to make sure that teachers are prepared to teach when they get given their own classroom. And so I'm a huge supporter of teacher residency programs, where for the first year, teachers are matched up with an expert teacher, and while they're working with that teacher, they also receive their master's degree and credentials. And then when they get given their own classroom, they have a mentor that they work with for an additional 2 years to make sure that they're really honing their skills and providing the best teaching for their students.
Thank you.
I agree with Sia. In this area, teachers need to be paid $100,000, $120,000, $140,000 to be able to live with a family in the Bay Area. From there, we really need to make sure that people are evaluated by the performance, by the students, by the parents, by the administration, and fix the red tape in the public school system. It's one of the reasons why charter schools have a lot, some lesser regulations than the public schools. We definitely need to improve when teachers do get fired, that they have adult educational transfer systems where they can get the education they need to move on to their career.
The tenure system has to be reviewed, and we need to look into it, number one. I would suggest to have also the parents' evaluation of the teacher has to be in the system. So that's another thing to do. And then the third thing is this is the overall now in this area here, because the housing crisis, our teacher cannot afford to live here. So that's why I'm asking all the big corporations like Google, like Apple, and Google in Mountain View, and Facebook in Menlo Park, step up to the plate to pay their fair share. For all these big corporations to bragging about they paying zero tax, which is morally wrong, I believe.
Yes, I would go one step further and actually specifically tie teacher compensation with student performance results. In other words, with test scores. I'm not endorsed by the teachers union, so I can say that. Some people that are endorsed by the teachers unions, that's probably a tough sell. But as far as incentives, focusing on incentives that actually reward good performance, as well as dealing with bad performance, in a positive sense, when you have a merit system to compensate teachers, that is what's going to attract high quality. That is what's likely to lead to your kids being successful in school, getting a great education.
Thank you.
And our final question, the question about housing will be presented by Sonia Spencer from FIA.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Sonia Spencer, and I've been a resident of East Palo Alto since 1965. Education isn't the only issue affecting low-income families in the Bay Area. Everyone knows that the Silicon Valley is going through a lot of change right now. With all of the development and high-tech companies moving and expanding here. More high-paying jobs is a good thing for our region, but also has its unintended consequences for many residents as housing and rental prices rise. According to the California Association of Realtors, the average price for a single-family home in San Mateo County is over $1 million. The rental price for a 2-bedroom apartment in our region, East Palo Alto and North Fair Oaks, is over $3,000 a month. This means that a person earning $15 an hour or $30,000 yearly cannot afford to live in the community that they work in. Families have had their rents raised consistently every year, even though incomes are not going up. Many people have had to move out of the area, which causes instability for our children and leads to the gentrification we see today. Long commutes also contribute to the traffic problems that impact us all. We live in the middle of one of the wealthiest areas in the country, surrounded by companies that innovate new ways for us to communicate and live. Yet, many of our leaders seem unwilling to tackle this affordable housing crisis in a significant way to help low-income families. I remember this community I grew up in. Our community was close-knit, a community where everyone knew each other. Until 2006, when everything started to change. Families were bought out by a very aggressive company, and the faces in my community began to change. Rents increased by 300%, and families who couldn't afford the rent hike had to leave their homes and their families. I remember when my rent went up by $332. I went from paying a little over $500 to over $800 per month overnight. So tell me, by a show of hands, who else knows of someone that has had a change in where they live because of the inability to pay increased rents? Thank you. We armed ourselves with information, and with the help of East Palo Alto Community Legal Services, we began to fight for our right to live and stay in our community. Unfortunately, we were not prepared for the slew of lawyers, and we were not able to afford the long legal battles that it took to win. Still, some of us kept on fighting and kept on struggling. West Side, East Palo Alto, is where I saw the most of the people leave. Most of the people I knew left. For those left behind, life started again. Life started over. And those who were left, we kept on fighting for ourselves, for our children, and for our community. It was hard, and it was an uphill battle, and for the most part, we lost. By 2009, rents continued to increase, and more of our community continued to change. I saw the apartments we call home change hands 4 times, yet we still struggle to live. I've seen folks do double shifts, 2 jobs, overnight, odd jobs, just to make ends meet. I have seen when people were put in a position where they were forced to choose between eating, rent, and medicine. Since 1965, only 3 families remain from my original neighborhood. We are all waiting for that living wage to kick in, but even with this, many will still not be able to afford to live in this community. Every time I tell my story, it breaks my heart, but I still continue fighting. To the candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Otaki, knowing that the housing crisis is not just local, but statewide, what do you think can be done to begin to tackle this problem?
Thank you. In San Mateo County, over the last 10 years, over 50,000 new jobs were added in this county, but only 4,000 new housing units. That is the fundamental supply-demand issue that we face. So what we're doing, for example, in Menlo Park, is where we've got 3,000 new housing units under construction, half of which are affordable. In addition, we're working with Facebook in rezoning a section of town so that 4,500 new housing units will be built over the next several years with Facebook's help. And so that's what we have to do, is to encourage new supply of affordable housing.
What do you mean by affordable?
It will include 15%.
Mr. Otaki, I'm sorry, but your time is up. We don't have time to take questions from the community. We appreciate you have an opportunity to fill out a comment card and submit them to the table. When you register, and we'll submit those questions to the candidates. Thank you. Mr.
I believe it's the corporate, the owner's greed that has resulted in all this, doubling the rents. So we need to fight back, and we need to ask for higher wages. That's the only way we can fight back and give them the rent they want. So let's go for $20 hour wages. Let's build a new city right next to Fremont, between Mellow Park and here. And we need to ask Facebook, Apple to invest in real estate, not just invest in their employees and give them $200,000 for a starting job. So we need to have corporations accountable.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy.
And we need rent for the
Ms. Ben.
For 13 years, I've been working with the Fair Housing Law Project to protect affordable housing, including representing the residents of the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park and trying to save that source of affordable housing, which we're doing right now. Of the 4 candidates on this panel that were at the Realtors Association, I was the only one that spoke up for rent control here in East Palo Alto. I believe we should have state funding of affordable housing, including from our budget surplus, a housing bond, and tax incentives. But I want to turn to this race because you may think that the biggest difference between me and the other candidates is that I'm a woman. But the biggest difference is that I have had $1 million of independent expenditures against me. I never thought that standing up and being an independent voice would provoke the mountain of mailers you've seen for Mark Berman and attacking me, but that's what's happened. And I will tell you, I will continue and I will be a voice for working families in Sacramento and not for special interests, and I would love your support. Thank you.
So like I have done publicly, I want to take this opportunity to totally disavow the negative attacks that have occurred in this race. There's no place in it, and I hope that every voter makes their determination of who to vote for based on the policy positions and the visions that we've all espoused for this community. So I apologize to Vicki because I think it's totally inappropriate what's happening. Speaking of the issue of housing, and I've now lost 15 seconds of my time, I think we need to increase the low-income housing tax credit. I think we need to pass an affordable housing bond for the state of California, and we need to decrease regulations that currently get in the way of people building housing in our communities. That's the way that we're going to start to claw back the additional housing supply that we need in Silicon Valley and across California.
I would kindly ask you please not to attack each other. Thank you.
Free education is a right for all and for all ages. Free healthcare and medical support is a right for all ages. And housing is a right for all people at all ages. Okay? We need to fix the whole idea of what housing is in this culture. It is a monstrosity. The idea that housing is anything but living in for families is wrong and immoral. More than half of all housing is basically for making money and profit. The corporations are buying up more than half of all the houses. We need to end that. Housing should be not for real estate and not for speculation. It should be for living in.
I still have to say, for outside expenditure to attack the BDB is just not fair, not right. And attack after attack, that's not right. Okay, number one. Number two, to control the rent control, I'm proposing to have a statewide rent control. Statewide, county government. Number two, tax the wealthiest in California at 1% to help on the education funding. They're part of the community. Okay, they're the part of the community. You benefit from this community. They should step up. So that's why I'm asking Apple and big corporations to pay their fair share. Okay, in human history, when the have is willing to share with have not, there's a peace. When the have is not willing to share with have not, there's a war. So this is a situation we're in the same boat.
Thank you, Mr. Chang.
Yes, the question is formally posed as being a statewide issue, but I think the speaker clarified clarify, you know, addressing the acute area in the Bay Area first. I'm not sure that a statewide policy for housing in the Bay Area and in the Central Valley would actually be practical. What we do locally in Mountain View is we have been very, very progressive on housing construction. Thousands and thousands of units have been built or are in the pipeline now to add to the supply as with the needs of ameliorating costs. I've also advocated streamlining the entitlement process, which is extremely burdensome and expensive to actually bring housing to market. So the way to address housing is supply and demand and emphasizing supply.
Thank you. Mr. Pastor,
and last but not least, housing has been my highest priority during this campaign. And quickly in bullet point, we need to reduce the barriers and the costs of developing new housing. We need to increase the low-income tax credits for housing so that more affordable housing or subsidized housing can be built. We need to overturn the state preemption of local governments like the city of Mountain View that have inclusionary zoning. 10%, we require 10% of all units of new apartments to be affordable, but the state prevents us from enforcing that law. We need to change that. We need to work, the state needs to work with cities to encourage them to build more, like Mountain View is looking at building over 10,000 more units in the North Bay Shore.
Thank you very much. Candidates, thank you.
Thank you to all the candidates for sharing your vision with us. Thank you for participating tonight and for sending your messages on why it's important to vote. We will pass them on to social media. Help us to spread the word. Tell your friends and family when you see them tomorrow at school, at the market, at church, and spread the word on social media. If elected, we urge you to keep your stories, our stories and concerns of our families in front of your mind as you make decisions at state level.
Let's take a moment to show our gratitude to the candidates and to all the people who have spoken this evening. A reminder to everyone to please vote on June 7th. Also, please return the translation equipment on your way out. Por favor, de regresar el equipo de traducción a la salida. Innovate Public Schools will be following up with the candidates and the audience here after